So here we go. I am going to try to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. I have my notes here with me to try to keep me focused and say what I want to say. I have recorded this video probably 3 or 4 times now, and just each time not being satisfied and just not thinking it's good enough, and I just have to do it. So that's what I'm doing. Hi. If you're new around here, my name is Cassidy. I create videos about motherhood and homemaking, and you might be asking, why are you on YouTube? What do you have to offer? Who are you? So that's what I'm going to get into. So the short answer of why you're here on YouTube, my main reason for starting my YouTube channel is honestly to bring glory to God in obviously homemaking and parenting and just all of those things. That is my short answer. So okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into my notes, and I've just kind of like written out a few things just to keep me moving forward and focused on the right things. Okay, so the basics of who I am. I am Cassidy. I am a mother of 6 with baby boy number 7 on the way. Well, baby number 7, he's a boy on the way. Okay, so the ages of my children are my oldest, she is 15. She just turned 15 actually a few days ago. And then my first son, he is 10, about to turn 11 next month. And then my second girl, she's 8. My third girl is 6. My fourth girl is 2. My son, my youngest son, is, well, my second son is 16, almost 17 months. And then this baby, I'm 26 weeks pregnant today. So that's my children ranges. And I have been married for 11 years. In October it'll be 12, so like 11 and a half years. And the entire time he's been in the Navy. So that has added a lot of experience and wisdom to my resume. And he's actually going to be getting out, and that's what encouraged our move here to Idaho. We were living in California the entirety of my life for the most part, except for a few years here and there. I lived in Oregon, but for the most part I lived in California. The entirety of our marriage, the last 11 years, was in San Diego. It was beautiful, it was wonderful, but with him getting out and just having the freedom to go wherever, we chose Idaho, and so that's where we live. I am a Christian. I was saved at age 24, or at least that's when I was baptized. I don't really have a date other than like my baptism to mark it, which is, you know, what that's for. So that's that. And then as far back as I can remember, I have always wanted to be a homemaker and a mama. Like my oldest memory, you know, when you're in class and you're like in kindergarten, what do you want to be when you grow up? Literally my dream was to be a soccer mom. That's all I wanted to be. And I'll get into that and why and like what that looked like to me, like what I thought soccer mom was. But I just wanted to give you that like backstory. That's why, you know, it's my greatest desire and it's my biggest passion. I love being a homemaker. I love being a mama. It brings me so much joy, and I feel so blessed to be able to do it. I really do feel like it is an honor and a privilege and something to be admired, something to be looked up to, not something, you know, as the world thinks being a stay-at-home mom is just like a waste of your time and effort and attention, and you know, you're more than that, or you're capable of more of that. I don't think there is any more important job in the world than being a good mama and a homemaker, and that obviously looks differently for each person, but for me, that's, you know, it's me being the stay-at-home mama to my 7 babies. So now the long answer into why I'm on YouTube. Sorry, I can hear my kids hollering and making I don't even know what noise, and it's distracting me. If you guys can hear it, I'm sorry. We're moving on. So the whole reason why I decided to start a YouTube channel is to encourage and share with women, mothers, wives, and homemakers practical tips, advice, how-tos, that kind of stuff, to manage their homes, to love their children and respect their husbands, as they seek to honor God. So as you read in chapter 2 of Titus, it tells women to teach women that are younger than you, that are not as experienced, that are just starting out, however you want to translate that, to love their children, to love their husbands, to manage their homes, and just like the etiquette and characteristics and practicality of all of that. And so that's my desire. I want to share my wisdom and experience that I have gained over the last 15 years of being a mom and a homemaker to other women, and just, you know, whether they're just starting out or just need to be encouraged in that. That's the whole point of me doing this, because, and now we'll go back into the ever since I can remember, this is what I desired to do. I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be a keeper of my home. I wanted to be there when my kids got home and made cookies and like had the minivan and like the whole thing, guys. Like that was literally my whole desire. Now I think a lot of that was spurred on because I was not raised in a Christian home. I wasn't even raised in a healthy, stable home. Not to say that my mom was like a terrible mom, because she wasn't, and she did the best that she could. She was a single mom. She taught us a lot of how to, you know, clean, cook, and things like that. But as far as like how to manage your home, how to organize it, how to make it lovely, and just all of that kind of stuff, that was never like her goals, and not something that she did. And so obviously it wasn't something taught. I also spent some time, and you know, and I see this as a gift now. When I was a child, I didn't, but I also spent some time living with my grandmothers who were a little bit different in those areas. So I think that I did have mentors and women to help shape me in a lot of the things, you know, the way that I cook and things like that. But again, it wasn't about, you know, making your home lovely or bringing peace or, you know, comfort or any of those things. It was, you know, we clean because we don't like messes. Like my family all have like OCDs and certain things like that. And so it was like, it would bring stress and anxiety if it wasn't clean. Like that was the purpose of your house being clean or organized or like decorating and stuff like that. It wasn't about bringing, like, sparking joy and delight and wonder and making a home lovely or beautiful. It was, you need to do these things so that you're not stressed out and don't have anxiety. And it was all practical. It was all about efficiency. It wasn't about loveliness. And so that was an area that I really had to learn and grow in. And so basically, just to give you like some background of like, that's where I was from. That's why I think that I saw being a mom, being a homemaker, and a wife were of such high value and such a desire for me, because it wasn't something that I had. And I would see other families and other kids and their moms and stuff like that, and I just so much wanted to be the mom wearing the apron, holding the babies, making the meals, and just like doing it. And so that's really where like my homemaking and my motherhood is inspired, obviously with God too, but like those are the things that encourage me in my parenting and just the way that I set up my home, the way that I do things. And like, while I still struggle a lot with, you know, doing things more efficiently or practical just because of like the ease of it, you know, it's still kind of like my go-to, my default, but I'm learning, and that's what I want to share. So I became a mom at 19. I was a single mom working and going to school. I had to quickly give up school because I couldn't provide and care for my daughter at the same time as going to school. Something had to give, and that's what gave. And so as far as like motherhood goes, like I started being a mom at 19, single mom, by my choice. And I just didn't, I knew the basics. I have babysat, I've been around kids. I knew, like, I had siblings. My older sister had 2 children by the time I had my first. And so there was like some experience and some knowledge, but I was so over my head and overwhelmed and just like, I was just exhausted and depleted, and I didn't know what I was doing. And so I got really like, I was thrusted into it. I didn't have time to prepare. It was like make or break. I had to figure these things out. My mom passed away relatively early in my mothering journey. My son was like 9 months old. So by the time my daughter was 5, my mom had already passed. And this is where I always get caught up in the video. There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss my mom and wish that I had just her insight or encouragement, and to see and be proud and enjoy her grandchildren and all of that. Didn't mean to cry. But again, these are the things that make me the mom and the homemaker that I am. I want my children to remember me. This is my legacy, being a mom. That's my legacy, and I want them to remember me as I want them to have lovely memories. I want them to look back and be thankful and grateful, and have joy in their hearts when they look back. As you know, I don't want them to sit there and be bogged down with these painful memories or having to block things out to protect themselves or to protect my memory. So with all that being said, those are the things, you know, not having my mom has really caused me to have to search outside of her to figure out a lot of answers. And again, she wasn't a Christian, so a lot of the things I think would be a little bit different, but just like as far as practicality goes, it's not like I can just call her up and, you know, ask her like, hey, how did you manage to do this? She did have 4 kids. She had there's 4 girls, me and 3 of my sisters, and we had 2 step siblings that were like in and out of our lives. And so like she did have experience as far as like parenting a good amount of kids and like running a home and stuff, and there was just, you know, there's just things that I wish I could have gone to her or asked her, and that sucks. But God has graciously provided me a loving mother-in-law who really does help in a lot of that encouragement and just loving me, and you know, if I need practicality tips or, you know, recipes and stuff, I've learned actually quite a bit from her as well, as you know, and women in the church, even, you know, younger women that were raised in Christian homes have taught me a good amount. And so I have been graciously given by God a lot of experience and knowledge over the last, like I said, 15 years that I feel like have uniquely equipped me to encourage mamas and wives and homemakers in a way that maybe not everybody else can. It's not something that was, you know, inherited, I guess. Like, it's not something that I just was raised in and just like, I don't know. It's just, I had to fight for it. I had to find it. I had to figure it out. I've had a lot of trial and error. And with all of this being said, and I want this to be like loud and clear. As loud as the part of this is all for the glory of God that I do all of these things. I want it to be known. I do not think I am perfect. I fail every single day. I don't think I am an expert. I don't think that I am all-knowing and my way is the best way. Like, I am still very much learning. I think that I have been equipped, though, with a lot of wisdom and knowledge over the last 15 years of having 6 children, doing a lot of it on my own, that I have a unique platform to be able to share. And I just want to equip women to make it a little bit easier to find the answers and not having to struggle or feel alone in it. I don't want it to be so daunting to have to figure this out. I don't want people to have to I just don't want women to really struggle. I want to give the women the opportunity and chance to be mentored or encouraged by another, Christian mama who has some experience and who understands trying to figure it all out. And I think that, obviously the Bible is like the foundation of how I live my life and how I strive to live my life. And again, I'm not perfect, I fail. But that doesn't mean that I don't strive to be better and do better every single day that I wake up. My favorite, I don't know. I would say a motto, but it's not. It's from the Bible. But God gives us new mercies every morning. And that is literally my most favorite, aside from the gospel, but the thing that just encourages me the very most is knowing that no matter how today goes, bad or good, how well I feel like I did, or how many times I have to apologize for messing up, God grants us new mercies every morning, and we get to wake up and have a fresh new start and work to do the best that we can in that day, and so on and so forth. And over time, you'll notice you get better, you do better, you get farther, whatever it is, a little bit each day. And that's my favorite little concept. So I hope this is a helpful video for you guys to understand who I am, why I do what I do, what inspires me, and where I'm coming from with all of this. I know, especially for, friends and family, people that are close to you, it can be that, I don't know. I just feel like I had to kind of explain or just give some insight into who I am and, what spurs me on in this. I really do want to fight against this whole culture and idea that being a stay-at-home mom or being a homemaker is not worthy or not admirable or any of those things. I don't, but I'm also not into the pity party, feel bad for myself because I'm a stay-at-home mom or I'm a homemaker or I had these children or whatever. I don't think that it's a poor pitiful me and it's so hard and let's just complain together, because that's not me either. I think, like I said, this is an honorable job and calling. I believe that being a mom and a homemaker and a wife are callings to be praised and to be honored. Also, I believe that you should feel privileged and honored to be a mom and a homemaker and know that everything that you're doing could be so God-honoring and so monumental for your children. Just having a good attitude or apologizing when you mess up to your children could be huge lifelong lessons that you'll never regret and they'll always remember. You know, going the extra mile, you know, just going and putting the extra step into it. And I'm not talking about like, you know, a feast every night for dinner or any of those things. I'm just simply talking about your attitude towards your children, towards your home, towards your husband, the way you interact with them, I don't want to say, I don't know how else to explain this, but like the vibe in your home, like the feeling, the environment that you create literally can be the best of memories or the worst. And I strive to bring peace and comfort and joy and delight in my home and in my parenting, like in my mothering. Again, I am not perfect and I messed that up. And by God's grace, I'm quicker to repent and to apologize and ask their forgiveness. And again, new morning mercies. I try again the next day. But like that is who I am. That's what I strive for. That's what I believe. If any of this resonates with you, if it sounds familiar, if you can understand it, if you get it, or if it's something that you're encouraged by or convicted of, I would so love for you to be a part of my little community here. You should definitely subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. And I am going to end it here. I already feel like it's longer than I wanted it to be, but in a nutshell, guys, that is the most concise introduction that I can do to who I am and what I'm about and why I do what I do. And may all of this be done for God's glory. Happy homemaking, friends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.